Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1347. Happy Sunday. I'm a little tired this morning. Had a few beers when I got home last night. But I was up. Oh my God. So here's the funny thing about my tiredness. So today we're going to talk about the Kane County Card Show. Was an awesome show. I didn't buy much. I didn't sell much, but it was a great time. So we're going to talk about yesterday's card show in St. Charles, Illinois, Kane County Fairgrounds, which will probably be my last card show as a dealer until February, which I don't like. The January dates don't mix. Next weekend, there's a show in Janesville. I will not be able to set up there because I'm on Ernie duty. My wife's leaving for Florida this week. But next Saturday is the Couch People Christmas Party, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time this coming Saturday now. So we'll stream live. If you're not familiar with the Couch People Christmas Party, basically it's like Hobby Evolution at night, but we invite anybody and everybody for a holiday extravaganza. You can rip, you can just chat. It's going to be streamed live. You can just hang out. You can lurk and not chat at all. I do like the chat though. It's always fun when we have chatters. You can pop on. We'll provide the link and you can call in. It's like basically like a Zoom hangout is all it is. So this will be the third annual Couch People Christmas Party. So that's this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. Central, right here on this YouTube channel. So I will not be set up in Janesville this coming it's a Saturday show. So this coming Saturday. You know what though? Even though I can't set up, I can probably go. I can drop Ernie off it because doggy daycare is open on Saturdays. I can drop off Ernie in the morning and run down to Janesville and just shop. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I do need to get out of the house at least once a week. So I think I'll do that. I think I'll drop Ernie off at doggy daycare in the morning and then head down to Janesville and spend the morning down there. So anyway, I won't set up. And then December 28th is the next Madison card show. I will not be set up as a dealer. I'm just going to come out and say I'm not going to set up because sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I will. And I end up, if I'm on the fence, I just don't. And it's a lot easier for me to not set up. So I won't set up in Madison. January, there's actually two premier card shows. They also run Janesville, Rockford, Kane County, where I was at yesterday. They're doing a card show in cooperation with the Windy City Bulls, the G League team for the in the NBA. Windy City Bulls out in I think Hoffman Estates is where the Now Arena is. So they're going to do a card show there Saturday, January 18th. Awesome. I wish I could do it, but that's the same weekend as Cubs convention. So you bet your bottom dollar I'll be at Cubs Con on January 18th. So I'll miss that show. And then the Rockford card show is also in January, but it's unfortunately the same weekend as the Madison card show on, I think it's January 25th. So I will not be set up in Rockford in January. So my next show will be in February, which is, God, February seems like light years away. So you're Rosemont Horizon, not the Now Arena. Rosemont Horizon is now the Allstate Arena in Rosemont. And the Now Arena is out in Hoffman Estates, which is actually same interstate, just a little further down the road. Now Arena. It's a nice little area they've got going on. What else? So yeah, I was tired. I'm tired this morning. So we were having dinner last night, and Normally I eat like I'll hit Buffalo Wild Wings up after a show if it's in Janesville or Rockford. But St. Charles a little further away, and I'm like, I just want to get home. It's early. Like I'm up at 4:30 when I go to St. Charles. Now, I realized for whatever reason, I was thinking it was over 2 hours away. So when I go to Rosemont, when I go to the Donald Stevens Convention Center, it's smack dab exactly 2 hours on the mark from my driveway pulling into the parking garage. So right at 2 hours. So for some reason I was thinking it's a little further, but I'm off Randall Road, which is, a good distance from Rosemont. And even though it's red light road, it's 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So there's not much traffic. There's not many red lights. But I think, so I did my trip, and it took me like right at an hour 40. So I could have slept 20 more minutes. But it was like it was like exactly 2 hours, and I did not stop on the way back. Did not stop. So there was no like slowdown from pulling off an off ramp or whatever. So it was 20 minutes longer because of Randall Road, which is only 10, 15 miles, but it's like red light after red light. And it's the holiday shopping season. And at 4 o'clock, there's a lot of holiday shoppers that still go out and shop at stores. So it took me 2 hours to get home because of all the red lights on red light, AKA Randall Road. So we're having dinner last night, and I'm like, I'm not like, and I crack open a beer. I'm like, I am like not tired at all. And my wife's like, did you have coffee? And I said, yeah, I had. And she's like, did you have your mushroom coffee? I'm like, yeah, I had my mushroom coffee. I'm like, oh, and then I stopped and I got a large coffee at 7-Eleven, and then I had a Diet Coke. And she's just like, well, yeah, because usually I don't have that much like every once in a while I'll have a Diet Coke, but I rarely drink. I can count on one hand how many times I've drank regular coffee since May 1st. It's 5 or less. I think once or twice at the Madison Card Show, like in the summer when I was up super early, when I had 200 tables. I think the last time I set up in St. Charles, that might have been in March. So strike that from the record. I lie. I drank regular coffee for 2 weeks when we were in Switzerland. So, okay. Outside of in America, I can count on one hand how many times I've drank regular coffee in the last 7 months. So I think that kind of perked me up. So I was not tired. I was up till usually, like if I don't have that extra sugar, and I had some sugar too, and caffeine, I'm like 8:30, I'm crashing. And I did crash hard last night when I went to bed. And then I think when my wife came to bed, I woke up, or she was bringing towels in or something. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And then Ernie got up at like 4:30 again. He's like, well, we did it yesterday. Let's do it again. And then I like slept. I finally got up at like 8 or 8:30. I'm like, okay, it's time to be a productive member of society today. Go Bears. So we're going to talk about the Kane County Card Show yesterday. There was a lot of card shows yesterday, and I wondered, how is this going to impact the card show here? And curious how it affected other card shows in our area. Before we get into that, I want to show off my 99-cent cards. It's been a decent weekend in sales in my eBay store. It's been steady, a little lower than it's been the last couple of weeks, but I expected that going in because I ran less auctions this time, the last few days. So I knew that would impact my sales a little bit. Also, I'm coming off a 50% off sale, and I haven't really restocked a lot of buy it now. So my sales are basically right exactly where I expect them to be. I did add some for the first time. I did Saturday night auctions. I listed a bunch of relics, like 80 jersey relics, 99 cents. Shipping is $5 on these because normally I've been charging $4.25 on bubble mailer shipments. Well, that's like, I don't think any of my shipments are under $4.25 in a bubble mail. I think they're all like $4.30 to $4.80. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to bump up in $5 shipping. I know, but it's capped. So you can buy 80 relics at 99 cents and you're only going to pay $5 shipping. So again, it encourages you to buy multiple items. So those went live last night. Now over 700 auctions running right now in my eBay store. It's going to be over 800 because I don't have, I do have auctions ending tonight. So it's probably going to still be around 700 auctions after tonight because I will put up about 100 auctions tonight, maybe 200. We'll see. It's in the other room. I've got a box that I made up last night. So check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. In the buy it now section, buy 7 or more at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout and get your bids in on the auctions. No coupon code for auctions. You're going to save plenty of money on those auctions because they sell for less anyway. 99centcards.com. So yesterday was the card show in St. Charles, Illinois, Kane County Fairgrounds. Before we get to the chat, I just want to share what was I going to share? What was I talking about before I started rambling about 99centcards.com? Fuck. Now I can't remember. I had a great thought come to mind, and now I digress. Somebody rewind it. What was I going into about the card show yesterday? I had a thought about, because there was multiple card shows, and then we'll get to the chat. There was multiple card shows going on yesterday, and Kane County was over 200 tables. Oak Creek is 180 tables. There was a card show up in Stevens Point, which I think is 40 or 50 tables. And I'm like, man, can this area is it going to have effect on these card shows? Having so many card shows. And then I realized St. Charles is like Chicago. People will say that's in the sticks and the boonies, but that show draws a lot of people from the city. I know it's way far out. It's probably a good 90 minutes from the city of Chicago, but it's basically the Chicago area. Oak Creek is Milwaukee. It's like, yeah, I think Chicago and Milwaukee can handle 400 tables and not see a blip. Now, from a dealer standpoint, you're gonna have dealers pick and choose. Am I going to go to Oak Creek? Am I going to go to St. Charles? I know at least one or two went to Stevens Point and they've been to both Oak Creek and St. Charles in the past. Stevens Point's way up. I mean, it's at least 2 hours from me, I think. Another 2 hours, so 4 hours between, like, that has no real effect on Chicago suburb show. But the hobby is strong enough. These areas, I mean, sometimes I fail to remember how large of an area like that I'm in. Now, I know before John Keating's typing right now, remember the East Coast. I understand that New York, Philadelphia, the East Coast, that border, a lot of people there too. But a lot of people in America are not in the East Coast or in Chicago, Milwaukee, large cities. You could be in Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, smaller areas, Central Illinois. So we had plenty. So we had plenty of huge traffic. Great show. We're going to get into it. Let's talk chat first. Let's get into the chat room. Art Green is in the house. Good morning, Art. Todd is here. Good morning. Kevin's in the house. Good morning. SoCal Guy is here. Happy Sunday. Good morning to Uncle Rich. Steve is here. Good morning. Royals 417. Good Sunday morning to you. Double A Cards is here. He says good morning. Bears win today. 27-24 walk-off field goal. I like that. That would be fun. Is it a noon game today? What time is the Bears game on today? Is Is it a noon game or a 3 o'clock game? I kind of want this right today because I've got a lot of shipping to do because I took yesterday off, obviously. The noon games just really screw up my rhythm when it comes because after, it'll be 10 o'clock by the time I get to the shipping room. And then I've got like 2 hours. And then by the time the game ends at 3 o'clock, it's like, I'm going to go take the dog. It's actually warm out this morning. It's 47 degrees right now. I'll take it. We had below zero wind chills just 2 days ago. So 50 degrees today, I'm going to take. In fact, I'll probably take a load to the storage unit today because I'm got more shit to take over there. But I like that prediction. So I'd prefer a 3 o'clock kickoff. At least I can get my shit done. But if it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, I likely won't get to my storage unit. I might. We'll see how much shipping I could get done by 1:30, 2 o'clock. We'll see. Matt says he's a lurker. That's okay. Lurkers are welcome. Card shows are lots of people, very little cash, says the bargain boxer. That really hasn't been the case at where I've seen. I know that most dealers I talked to yesterday did really well. I did not do as well as I previously did. I'm going to talk about that, which I was surprised. There's always reasons. Whether it's eBay, whether it's setting up at a car show. There's reasons why you don't make as much as you expect. There's reasons that you make more than you expect. And usually it's your own expectations. That's in my, how I think of it. And I've actually kind of been thinking about this morning. Okay, this was my expected goal to make yesterday. I didn't reach that. I did the last 2 shows at the same venue. Why is that? Was there less money in the room? No, I don't think that was the case. Was there less people in the room? No, definitely not the case. But there were less buyers. And I had a lot of small transactions. We'll get into that. But I don't think that's the case. And in fact, I know that last week at the Madison Card Show, a lot of money was being spent. A lot of dealers very happy last Saturday, the Madison Card Show. And from what I talked to dealers yesterday, a lot of happy dealers made a lot of money. So money's being spent, that's for sure. John says, Rosemont Horizon was one of my least favorite places to play back in the day. I've also heard that in the wrestling business, from a production standpoint, they hated working the Rosemont Horizon. And I'm talking some of the podcasts I listened, like Bruce Pritchard was a producer, backstage guy. He said it was awful at Rosemont Horizon, but it was an awesome venue because the crowd, Chicago, it's a great, they had great sellout crowds. The fans were into it in Chicago, but from a production standpoint, it was absolutely awful. And I think Tony Schiavone also, he was producer for WCW, did a little bit at WWF for a year. Says this, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I recall hearing both of them state the same from a production standpoint. It was just an absolutely awful place to work in producing for wrestling events. Poplar Creek used to be in Hoffman Estates. That was a fun place to play. I've never heard of Poplar Creek. Royal 417 says, haven't been to a show since Dallas. TCDB trades have picked up, so that's a plus. Hey, there you go. I've been to actually a few since I've actually been to a lot of shows since Dallas. Let's see. I did, was it Janesville right after Dallas? The Spectacular, Madison, Rockford, and then St. Charles yesterday. Mr. Archer, good morning. Knackley Collectibles in the house, good morning. Zach and Porter in the house. I went to a card show yesterday, got to meet Vince, sports card ripping teacher. I thought you'd met Vince before. I've met Vince twice now. Both times at Wrigley Field. Once as I was getting ready to throw out the first pitch, and another time at the Pearl Jam concert. And East Coast Tom, a 10 of 10. He's a PSA 10. Porter and I left with not a lot of stuff. Bargain boxes were not prevalent. That's interesting. And I do know Dell, who sets up regularly in Oak Creek. He's in Vegas, so I knew Dell was not going to be set up in Oak Creek this past weekend. I'm trying to think from a bargain box standpoint. Last weekend in Madison was the best, in my opinion, from and I've been to every Madison card show. It was the best bargain box show that I've had in 3.5 years. The show that I was at yesterday, not many bargain box. Like Steve and I were basically the only like bargain box tables out of 200 plus tables. Now, were there other? There was absolutely other bargain boxes, but there just wasn't like I had four. Steve and I both had 4 tables, all quarter box. Steve had some $1 and $3 boxes. I didn't bring any dollar boxes, and I'm going to go into my sales, and I think that's part of the reason why I didn't meet my quota. But it typically hasn't been a big bargain box show. There's another guy that had some what looked to be like bargain boxes, and then I saw a 90 Fleer Michael Jordan for $10, and I'm like, okay, this is not a bargain box. This is not a bargain box. So need to look no further. I actually appreciate that when they put a card like that at the front of a box, and I'm like, $10 for a 90 Fleer Jordan. Moving on. Thank you for not wasting my time. Jennings was there, and of course he has bargain boxes, so they were there. That was my first purchase of the day out of their 50-cent boxes. So, but historically, the last, I think this was the 3rd or 4th show in St. Charles at the fairgrounds. It hasn't been like a big bargain box show. So, pretty much buy from the same dealers that I would normally buy from. Royal 417 says you need to have a running ads going on your TV so you don't get sidetracked. Cooter says, good morning. I used to travel to St. Charles every year for training. Drank a lot. Used to travel to St. Charles. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. At one of your previous jobs. I received a package from Bo yesterday. I wish I could leave reviews for all cards in a package in mass. I have to do each one individually. That is annoying. I always leave them. Wish there was a quick fix. You can automate feedback. You can automate as soon as it's delivered. You can automate it. And I think with a buyer, you can actually edit. I don't know if you can as a seller. I haven't looked into that, but I don't care. If somebody's an asshole and, I leave a positive, oh well. But as a buyer, I think you can set it up to automate upon delivery and leave positive feedback. So you can do that. But that is annoyance of mine as well. In terms of on my side as a seller, it annoys me that I cannot accept offers in mass. So I had somebody, I listed a bunch of George Brett cards and I think Bo Jackson cards earlier this week. And I had somebody, I sat on the offers because they sent the offers right away. And I think they were $1.75, buy it now, free shipping. And somebody sent me like 8 or 10 offers at $1.25. I didn't want to accept them right away because I just listed them. So, I slept on it. Nobody had bought any of them in 24 hours. It's like, okay, they've been in my store for 24 hours. I will accept 10 offers at $1.25. But I have to go in and individually accept each of them. And I think what really is annoying is their automatic payment, even though I have disallowed automatic payments. I think it's a thing. So I get nailed for $3 in transaction charges, which should only be 30 cents because I'd like to send them an invoice. I accepted them all and I was not even able, they weren't even showing up in the awaiting shipment. It's like they were already paid for as soon as I clicked accept. So I need to take that into consideration. You're like, okay, $1.25 at $1.25, it's okay. But if I'm accepting dollar offers, I'm not going to do that. Not going to accept dollar offers, even, at 8 or 10, if they're going to be automatically paid for. So yeah, I wish there was more bulk edit, not edit. There's bulk edits, great, but bulk feedback. There are fixes. There are fixes to that. You could automate it. But I don't know if there's a workaround around bulk accepting or bulk declining. That's why I ignore a lot of offers. If it's a single offer of $1 on a card, I just ignore it. Like, I'm not going to spend my time decline. It just takes up too much time. Donald's here. What's up? Good morning. Cooter says, meant to say, drank a lot of free beer from partnering with Christian McCaffrey's aunt at Papa Shot. Nice. She'd been a Georgetown center. Very cool. Very cool. Papa Shot, one of my favorite. There's an art. I was talking to my buddy Mark. We went to Village Green the other night, and we were talking about there's the new arcade, which I've only been to once, but it's not really an arcade. It's basically a pinball arcade. I'm not really into pinball. It's like, if there's a pinball machine, like, I may or may not play it. And if there's an entire arcade dedicated to pinball, not interested. It's a cool place, great location, look cool, but I just don't play pinball. And it's like, the only thing I would be happy with an arcade with nothing but Papa Shot, NBA Jam, and Street Fighter 2. That's all I need. What else? The football throw thing. I like that. The football through targets or hit the targets. I like that. And then you're getting old when you wake up in the morning. You're like, God, why is my arm sore? Like, all I did was throw a football. Oh, I'm getting old. Don't use those muscles. Bargain Boxer says there are too many card shows. I used to say that. I'm kind of coming down from that because there are a lot of card shows, especially in my area. But they're still well trafficked, and dealers are people are still making money. People are buying cards. I don't think there are. I think we're at this time. I think there's a good amount of card shows. Now, if card shows keep popping up, where I'm at, you could go yesterday I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I was 2 hours away from two bigger regional card shows and one smaller monthly, or it's not a monthly show in Stevens Point, but it's 50 tables in Stevens Point. I'm 2 hours from Stevens Point. I'm an hour and 20 minutes from Oak Creek, 180 tables. I'm an hour and 40 minutes from St. Charles, over 200 tables. Today, I think there's a show over in the Milwaukee area. I think it's mostly Pokemon, though, in Waukesha. What else is Schaumburg today? There might be a show in Schaumburg. So like this weekend alone, within 2 hours, at least 5 card shows within a 2-hour drive. So that may seem like a lot, but I was in St. Charles. It was booming. I'm sure Oak Creek had Zach was there. I'm sure it was booming. I'm sure Stevens Point had a great crowd. So we'll know when there's too many card shows. Right now, I don't think we're there. Yeah, I was thinking at one point, it's like, I think there's too many card shows. But there's actually been growth, not just in terms of how many card shows there are, but there's been growth in buyers and sellers at card shows. It's booming, at least where I'm at. That may be different in your neck of the woods and others' neck of the woods, but at least around here, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, card shows are booming. Not every card show. I know there's some out there that struggle, but there's plenty out there that are doing really well. Orlando, what's up? Good morning. Royals 417 says 1 feedback per order that populates each card purchased would be nice. eBay, are you listening? That would be nice. Zach says we are spoiled with how many shows we have access to. We don't take it for granted. The largest card show in the country is an hour drive for us as well. I'm Bitcoin blessed with shows. There you go. Too many shows, not enough money, says the bargain boxer. I'm just going to disagree with that. Rosemont thinks they can do whatever they want because of their proximity to ORD. They know what they have and don't care about your feelings. Orlando says, I went to the Fort Lauderdale card show yesterday, was not too busy. Yeah, and like not every show is going to be in Fort Lauderdale. It's probably a nice day in Fort Lauderdale. It's cold up here. We don't want to go outside. We're going to go inside of the card show. Uncle Rich says we had a 60-table free admission show yesterday in Dallas. Mostly Pokemon, it appeared. A lot of Pokemon. My buddy Dave Arnold, who's in the chat usually. He's not in the chat. He went to the Club 400 Christmas party yesterday. I had to skip it because it was during the day. But he came in. He's like, man, there's a lot of Pokemon here. Yeah, there is. There's a lot. It's Pokemon's big. Pokemon is big. Rich says by 11 a.m., the room was packed. Rich says only 2 good older school dealers with bargain boxes. The best on a percent card I pulled was a 1984 Topps Dwight Stevenson rookie for 10 cents. What's that go for? What's a Dwight Stevenson rookie? I wouldn't even, if I saw that in a dime box, I would keep on flipping. Speaking of that, though, Steve, one of the other bargain box dealers. By the way, Steve is the dealer that I got the Acuna super short print for 25 cents and sold it for $200, and we laugh. So I was going through some of Steve's boxes. He's been reloading a lot. He's had some really good stuff lately. Not Acuna super short print good stuff, but good stuff. And he gives me great deals. So I pulled, I don't think I have the box with me, but I pulled some, he had $3 cards. And he's like, I'll give you a good deal on these. And he did. And then he's like, I've got my quarter boxes. He's like, I need to blow this stuff out. So he's like, I'll sell you, a 3-row quarter box for $50. So I went through, I need more football inventory. And these are like good. There was some good stuff. I flipped through one box, good stuff for auctions that it'll probably sell for 99 cents. But, when you're paying a couple pennies, a lot of stuff I'll put in my own quarter boxes. Some stuff I'll list as buy it now. So I went through and there was a nice little pile of 70s football. And then there was some mid-80s football as well. Hell, maybe a Dwight Stevenson rookie in there. And I'm like, I think I'm just going to take this box. It's got a lot of 70s and 80s in it. And he goes, and he just kind of looked at me funny. Not like he didn't know they were in there. He goes, you can move that stuff? Or he goes, you can move the old stuff? I think I said there's a lot of older stuff in here, 70s and 80s. And he's like, you can move the older stuff? And I'm like, yes. I'm like, I don't want this modern stuff. He's like, really? I'm like, I have so much modern. Everywhere you look, every bargain box in here, it's modern, modern, modern. Yesterday, most of my stuff that I sold, guess when it was from? The 80s. I had a couple customers load up big stacks. Who are you looking for? Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire. Eating it up at a quarter a piece. That stuff moves. Why? Simple. Supply and demand. Walk around a 200 table card show. How many bargain boxes have 80s junk wax in a quarter box? Because most people think, oh, it's junk wax. Nobody wants it. It's penny cards. No, people want it. I also learned I need to put more. I had a few set builders and old school set builders, like notebook paper. Bought a stack of, like, I think I had 79s and 80s and 81, like baseball. I'm like, I've got a lot of that stuff. All right, I got piles and piles of 78 Topps baseball still. Put those in quarter boxes. As long as they're in rows together, because that way, I don't want to have them all over the place. So I think I could do better with my bargain boxes if, now I'm not going to go sort. I'm not going to go sit down and sort. Okay, here's 78s. Now, if I am sorting and I set some aside, I'll, put them aside. I'm not going to specifically go through boxes to sort them out for my quarter boxes. But if I get a stack at a time, okay, I'm going to put these right in a row in a quarter box because I do have set builders. And I'm looking for 81 Fleer. There's probably a few in here, but there's 35 boxes to go through. It's not worth your time. Royals417 says, Rich, you can keep the Pokemon in DFW. Yes. Oh, we have got so much Pokemon. We've got so much Pokemon up here. It's crazy. And I have regular dealers like, hey, I want a third table. I want a second table. It's like, no, because especially if they're a Pokemon dealer, like, no. I actually went through, I'd like to keep the Madison Card Show 20% Pokemon. And I went through table by table in my head yesterday. and I think I came up with 28% of my show last month was Pokemon. And I want to get that number down. I want Pokemon. I'm not saying I don't want Pokemon tables. I just want less of them. I want more sports, especially vintage. I want more vintage dealers. I'd like to have a couple more bargain box dealers. So that's for my own self. I mean, I started a card show. I want a card show tailored to my wants and needs, at the same time as everybody else. Now, if I had my way, it's like, okay, what would your ideal card show be? Bargain boxes as far as the eye can see. Well, nobody's going to come to that card show except for me and 3 others. Okay, maybe more. Rich says, getting 55 tops highs for $250 each. Dealer knows me and reduced price before I looked, but in any condition, that is a win. Very nice. Rich says, I'm sending them all to you in KC, my friend. There you go. I'll send mine to Kansas City too. Meet them halfway. Zach says, I should clarify my type of bargain boxes. That's a good point, because not every bargain box is the same. Just because you slap a penny sleeve or a top loader doesn't necessarily mean it's a bargain box. Plenty of modern bargain boxes. Ironically, not a lot of 2024 flagship commons. Porter is close to finishing that set economically. He found 6. Very cool. That's a fun way to set build. Going through, I mean, I found that just with my 74 top set build. I've had a lot of fun building that set, just going through, vintage binders, looking for commons, going through, fortunately I was able to find a bunch of the higher dollar cards from one dealer, got a deal on them, picked off a few from eBay. But the fun part is going through like a random box 74s for set builders. Here you go. Zach says, Don August was doing a meet and greet at Tony's table. I played against August in Lando Lakes baseball. Got a single off of, how about that? You got a single off a big league pitcher. That's my Uncle Zach comment of the day. Look at me. Don August. I don't see a feature to automate as the buyer. Where is this? Let's see. I used AI. Buyers cannot leave automatic feedback. I wish you weren't a liar. Interesting. I was not aware. I just assumed, and you know what assuming does. Interesting. I'm going to go in. Let's see. I don't even know where to look. Like, I actually stumbled upon how to set up. I finally stumbled upon last night. I set up the new $5 shipping option under shipping policies. I like the old eBay where you could just like, when you were listing, you could just make up your own price. Now you've got to have a policy. So I've got my own policy, a new policy for Bubble Mailer. And I found where you can set up your shipping discounts. And it's like, but I have so many, like, it's like, well, what is the cap? I don't want to cap it at $5 if it's $12 shipping on an item. It's like, well, I don't know. And then override it. That's why free shipping is the best. But I don't want free shipping on auctions, because then you lose money at 99 cents. So first world problems. There's like in your eBay summary, I think I had difficulty looking for this a previous time. It's something like automated settings, selling preferences. That's all under selling. Donations, it's not donations, it's not personal info, it's payments, account preferences. Let's look at permissions. Nope. That's for like employees. It's not advertisement. Communication. I wonder if it's under communication. Seller activity. General preferences. Feedback. Oh, that doesn't help either. So ultimately, I have no idea. So apparently, if AI says you can't do it, I guess you can't do it. Royals417 says, Rich, are you going to the Saber convention this year? Zach says, Street Fighter 2 greater than Mortal Kombat. Amen. You are, I agree with you 100%. Street Fighter 2, I was a Street Fighter 2 guy, which is ironic because wasn't the Street Fighter series a Nintendo series? And Mortal Kombat was a Sega series. And I was a Sega guy. I never owned a Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64. I went NES, Sega, Sony PlayStation. That was I preferred PlayStation over N64. I preferred Sega over Super Nintendo. NES didn't have any competition, so that's why I was an NES guy. But yeah, I was big on Street Fighter. Still am. Porter's here. Good morning. I had a great time at the card show in Carterville, Illinois. Met a lot of cool hobby folks. Very nice. Very nice. Rich says, yes, I will be at the Saber convention in one way or the other. There will be vendor tables available for the show, and unlike when I used to go. Zach says, saying there are too many card show is like a 21-year-old saying there are too many good-looking women at this bar. I'll never complain. Options are good. That's actually good. And I'm surprised, Bargain Boxer, you say that because you're a buyer. You're not even a dealer. You don't sell cards. Isn't that a good thing? More card shows? Bargain Boxer needs to hit Carterville. Matt Toon is as close as I get. Baseball card dealers are acceptable again. At one point in the 90s, they got banned. BB cards. I'm assuming that's baseball. I don't know. BB card dealers are acceptable again at one point in the 90s. They got banned because there was too many compared to other vendors. Orlando says, beautiful weather today in South Florida, 70 and sunny, out for a walk. Enjoy your walk. My wife will be down there in South Florida Tuesday. I think she flies 10 days. Her and her mom going down to, I think they're in her mom's places in Delray technically now. Used to be Boca. Now it's Delray. Uncle Rich says it was cold and rainy in Dallas yesterday, and the temp never got above freezing 50 degrees. Bo, the Beckett BV on the card I mentioned is $12. Really? Wow. Rookie card. I didn't even know Dwight Stevenson was a Hall of Famer. See how much I know. But I don't know football Hall of Fame. Like Dwight Stevenson. Oops, there goes the mic again. Dwight Stevenson is kind of like the Michael Cooper to me. We talked about this the other day. Like Michael Cooper, like I didn't know he was a Hall of Famer. Dwight Stevenson didn't know he was a Hall of Famer. I think Reggie Wayne is a Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer. I thought Donovan McNabb, Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer. I just don't know. I don't know my ball. I don't know my Hall of Fame for football and basketball. Baseball, I know. I know my baseball Hall of Fame. Though I didn't know Tony Oliva. It's like, oh, but he was like he was just inducted like 10 years ago, right? Or was it 2002, 2012? Can't remember what somebody said, but he was much later. He was not a Writers Hall of Famer. Cooter says, I would think boxes by decade would be popular. They might be. They might be. In terms of 70s and 80s and 90s, I guess. Once it gets to the 2000s, like, or modern, like here's 2024. That's a pretty good idea. I think I have enough of that's semi-sorted, where it's like current year, here's 2024. 2000's probably just going to be 2000 to 2023. 90s, 80s, 70s. Probably wouldn't be much 70s, though. I put a lot of that on eBay. Bargain Boxer says, remember the good old days when dealers used to sort cards by sport? I miss those days. Most boxes that I go through are sorted by sport. My boxes are sorted by sport. Steve, his are sorted by sport. Jennings, sorted by sport. 5-star, even though he hasn't updated. Matt, if you're listening, update your fucking bargain boxes. I want to buy more cards. Update your bargain boxes. His are by sport. Who else is by sport? He listens sometimes, so that's why I say that. All in love. Let's see. Where else did I buy? Actually, I bought from 3 different dealers yesterday. One of the 3 was all random, and I actually enjoyed it because they were good. If they're good bargain boxes, I don't care. And I'm actually looking for the reason I have more baseball and I need more football and basketball is because I typically shy away from football, basketball because I don't know the markets. Like I'm spending $1 on this, but is it going to sell? And sometimes I don't know. A lot of times like this card I would have listed for $2 and it sold for $50. So I just don't know. But the bargain box I bought, he had it was $1 a card or 10 for $7. So I ended up, and it was like as the show was starting and I was starting to get people at my table. So I'm like, I had 7, and then I started going through more cards, and I found like 3 that I really wanted. And it's like, I don't want to do the math. I want to make it easy. I want to have 2 piles of 7. So here's $20. So it took me a while to find, like, I found like 5 right off the bat, and then going through, and his were like, there were a couple Jordans in there. Jordans for 70 cents. Give me every one of them. What else was in there? There was an Aaron Hernandez rookie, which that'll sell well. There was some good stuff that you'll probably see in our Tuesday night auctions. So there you go. Zach says the Dwight rookie is a $3 to $4 card, but probably can be found plenty for $1, or probably in my quarter boxes. I would totally put a Dwight Stevenson rookie in a quarter box. I know this because I just grabbed one and loaded recent sales to TCDB, and it wasn't update pre-haul. Zach says falls into the same category as Kevin Green, Rod Woodson, Chris Dolman, Hall of Fame rookies for under $4. What's Kevin Green? Is it 88 tops? Because I put that in a quarter box. Rod Woodson, 89 pro set. I know for a fact I put both Kevin Green and Rod Woodson rookies in my quarter boxes on Friday night. Chris Dolman, I don't know what year his rookie card is. I should probably do a little closer. I should grab an old Beckett just to see who the rookies are. Because football, I'm learning more and more how little I know about football cards. This is 2024, the year of learning about football cards. Took me long enough. Uncle Rich says, my small synagogue show is now mainly a bargain box show with some better stuff tossed in. Sounds like my kind of show. I'm happy with the attendance because those who come know, and I have 1 to 2 dealers with really good stuff, and they kick butt. Red Light 34 is in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Merle's here. He says, good morning, fellow cardboard derelicts. We are here. Present. Bargain Boxer says, I need to find card shows that I've never been to and most people don't know about. That's where you can find the steals and deals. I need to find the one guy who cleaned his closet out that's been untouched since the 90s New Year's resolution. Yeah. That's those small random shows. I think I'm going to start calling those the flea market shows, where it's basically like $20 a table, and every Tom, Dick, and Jane sets up with their stuff out of their closet, don't know, how card shows work. They're like, oh, I've got some cards in my closet, $20. Yeah, I'll make a bunch of money. And then they don't, or they're giving stuff away. Those are the shows. Obviously, the well-attended shows, probably not many steals and deals. Bargain Boxer says, my wants and needs. Street Fighter 2 was SNES. Mortal Kombat was Sega. You have to scream it like the commercial. Sega. Uncle Rich says, Leroy Butler is a Hall of Famer. Who knew? That I actually did know. That's the one that I'm like, yep, Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer. Who is Leroy? Or is it Leroy Butler? Leroy. Zach says, because we organize our boxes by Hall of Fame and stars, I get a healthy education on Hall of Famers. Take a look at the Hockey Hall of Fame list. I'm like, he's in the Hall of Fame? He's in the Hall of, like, every name. It's like, but I only know like 5 hockey players. So TCDB also clearly calls out if they are in the player homepage. TCDB is the greatest free resource after YouTube. I'd agree with that. Zach says Charles Tillman should be in the Hall of Fame since Butler got in. Tillman's peanut punch is referenced every Sunday. Fairly close statistically, too. That would be, yeah. Peanut Tillman. The reason why I complained about too many card shows is because I want to hit every card show and I can't because there are 20 card shows every day on the weekend. I need to clone myself. But here's the thing. If you want to hit every card show, so does everybody else. So you just have more competition. If there's more card shows, realistically, there's probably less competition. So you've got to go pick out the small one-up random brand new show, get the steals and deals, because everybody else is going to be going to the big shows that they always go to. So you go to the random 20-table show in Paducah, Kentucky. Paducah's probably a bigger town. What's a small town down there? Tuscola. There's a VFW in Tuscola. I bet there's a VFW or an American Legion Hall in Tuscola, and maybe someday there's going to be a card show in Tuscola. You go to that card show, you'll get some steals and deals. But if everybody schedules, if there's only 1 or 2 card shows within a 4-hour drive every weekend, where's everybody going? The 1 or 2 card shows. So at least when there's too many, they're spread apart. 88 tops for Dolman and Green. They are quarter cards. Okay, so they're priced appropriately in my quarter boxes. They're probably gone. So I'm going to get into that. Woodson, rookies, not 89 score are quarter card. Yeah. My pro set was what I put in there. So I'm sure it is a quarter card. I'm sure they all got purchased yesterday. My football, I was surprised. So I didn't do as well in sales as I usually do. Now, there's a couple reasons. There's always reasons. Here's a little card show vending advice. If you can ignore me if you're a regular vendor at a card show, because you're already going to know this, or you should know this. If you're not, if you're a novice or not familiar with setting up at a card show, here's typically how it goes. You're going to go in, especially first show. You're going to think you're going to make hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You might only make 50. You're going to be upset. We always go in, not always. Most of the time, we go in with higher expectations, just like me yesterday. Even looking back, what could I have done differently? I don't think. I just think that was the market. I don't think there was anything I could have done differently. Now, a lot of card shows I set up at. Chicago Sports Spectacular. All of that traffic. And I had a lot of tire kickers come by, stop my booth, pick up a few cards. But guess what? I only had half a table space. I gave half my table to my buddy Justin. So I had 4 feet of table space. I didn't realize I could have brought other tables. But at the same time, I didn't really refresh my inventory. And it'd been cherry-picked time and time again. That's on me. That's on me. I still thought I would, even with the crap I brought, I thought I'd make more than $35. But that's on me. I take 100% responsibility for those poor sales. And that's usually when I do lower than expectations. That's why. Sometimes we go in with high expectations. And especially, I now have a good baseline for what I should make at a show, bringing quarter cards, dollar boxes, sometimes supplies or other random shit. And I think that's part of why I didn't do as well yesterday. In the past St. Charles shows, I think both of the previous shows, I brought some supplies. I brought dollar boxes. Yesterday, strictly quarter boxes. So obviously, you bring out some dollar boxes. Dollars add up a lot faster than quarters. Sell a $20 card saver box or multiple. And I know I did at least the first show, I sold probably $100 to $200 in supplies. Add some dollar boxes, and guess what? You subtract that away and only consider my quarter box sales. I probably did better yesterday than I've done at the previous 2 shows, same venue. So there's always reasons. There's reasons why you fail to meet your expectations, and there's reasons why you exceed your expectations. And usually, it's on me or it's on you, the dealer. It's not the card show promoters. It's not your location of your table. Although I did have one person that I probably would have made a lot more money with, but it was my location, which was awesome. It's a double-edged sword. My table location was a double-edged sword. Now, if the next show that they do at the Kane County Fairgrounds, which I don't know if there's a date yet set, but I hope to have that spot again, and I'll request it if available. Even though I could have had more sales if I wasn't there, but that guy now knows, hey, there might be bargain boxes off in this little cubby hole. It was basically a cubby hole. So the Kane County Fairgrounds, the arena basically that it's in, this giant empty space, right? And you walk in and the entire show is set up basically in a square. except for one little cutout at the far back of the show where the garage doors are. It's basically like a load in, load out. And I had a horseshoe, 4 tables, 4 8-foot tables and a horseshoe. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I had one guy, my very last customer of the day, and he bought over 100 quarter cards. And he's like, man, I would have spent my entire day here, but I didn't find you until the last hour of the show. He's like, I walked by because you weave back in and out of the rows. And he's like, I just took the corner and just kept walking. I didn't even look to my left as he made the turn. And then he's like, I finally saw you. And he's like, this was what I was looking for. So that's, you know, but I'm there again, people know. And that's another thing. You can set up for the first time at a show. People don't know. No, I can set up in Madison. I've set up in Madison several times in the last 3.5 years, but I haven't set up in 6, 7, 8 months. There's a lot of comers and goers that, that may be bargain box shoppers. They may not know that I set up bargain boxes. And then usually after I take an absence of setting up in Madison, I'll set up the first month, even sometimes the first 2 months. I don't have very good sales. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah. And then I'll have a crowd of 6 or 7 people at my table at 7 a.m., 2 hours before the show opens. So a lot of time that regularity is pivotal as well. So now, unlike recent shows where I've just kind of brought the same stuff, or I get lazy, it's like, well, these are the same quarter boxes. I was just in Janesville 2 months ago. These are dime boxes now. I basically brought all new boxes. I had a couple random boxes that I'd brought to the last couple shows, but pretty much all new. Pretty much all new boxes. Like I said, there was some good stuff in there. Hell, there might have been a Dwight Stevenson rookie card in there. There was a Bo Jackson shoulder pads card in there. Now it was poor to very good. But even in the condition, it probably would sell for $3 to $5 in the condition it was in. I just didn't want to, depending on the card, sometimes I don't want to sell banged up. Now, I sell a lot of, especially vintage, beat up cards, but when it's a more modern card, I'm a little hesitant, especially at auction when it's not a regular customer that's buying it, which I had happen here in one of my recent auctions. So I saw somebody was on the top of one of his stacks, and I'm like, I knew that one would go. I knew that one would go at 25 cents. So yeah, I had some great quarter boxes. In fact, it's kind of nice what I like, because basically Friday I haven't chatted since Friday morning. So after Friday, Mike, one of the promoters, reached out to me and he goes, hey, we've got this spot where another guy was at last time at the show. Do you want it? It's 4 tables. And I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. Now I've got to bring more. I don't want to bring a bunch of old crap. And that's because as a buyer, when I go to bargain boxes like 5-star, when I went up to 5 stars quarter boxes, I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff. I asked Matt, I'm like, hey, is there any new stuff? He's like, no, just haven't had time. I'm like, okay, I've probably seen these cards 12 times because it's the same stuff. So didn't even spend any time looking. And that's what people will do. If they see, well, I just saw these in Janesville or Rockford, same stuff, and they walk away. You don't get any sales. So I wanted to have all new stuff. So when Mike texted me that, I'm like, well, shit, now I've got to really, which is good. It was motivational, because otherwise it's like, I want to spend my time shipping and listing and shipping, like, and I've kind of put setting up at card shows kind of on the back burner where it's easy cash. I shouldn't be doing that. So I put together how many probably 20 new bargain boxes all day Friday and Friday night. No hockey though. And I had one guy come up, he's like, any hockey? I'm like, no. 44 row boxes on my table. No hockey. Not a single hockey card. So spot was awesome and I would take it again. But I think the main reason, if I were to think back, why did my sales failed to meet my expectations because and I'll just throw out real numbers. I think one show, there's a couple of reasons. I think the main reason is, it's kind of 1A, 1B. The two main reasons. 1A, I didn't have dollar boxes yesterday. I didn't have any supplies, which I'm pretty sure I've had supplies at both previous shows. At least the first show I did, which was last October, I think, I did have supplies. And I do know for a fact the last show I did have dollar boxes. So that obviously, pumps your dollar amount up. Second, 1B is I didn't have any regular prearranged deals where I think at the last show, Shane came up at the last show. He's going to come up to my house though next couple of weeks for some cards for purchase. But I know he came up. That was a big part of my last, money. So in reality, I probably did better in sales than what I did in the previous shows. Like overall, when I look at my spreadsheet and it's like, oh, I did X amount today, but the last show I did this amount, like almost twice as much. You start to break it down from a micro level and it's like, okay, but I had this prearranged deal. I had Mike was here and that's a $200 deal of Acuñas and Otanis and Trouts. Okay. So now it's like, okay, well, I only did $100 on quarter boxes, but I did 400 yesterday. So when you break it down to a micro level, I probably actually did better on my boxes than what I should have anticipated. I think I probably set my expectations too high, but I had really good stuff in those quarter boxes. In a lot of stuff also, like going through and it enabled me to find stuff. And I went through some boxes that I hadn't gone through before. I found a Travis Kelce rookie that'll probably go up in Tuesday night's auctions. I found some other stuff that'll go into, I had a nice pile of stuff that I found that I'll be listing tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday night in auctions that I found just by going through random boxes, pulling out quarter stuff for my quarter boxes. So that's good. And I failed to I had a bunch of Ginter inserts that I was going to just I don't want to list these anymore. So February when nobody wants Ginter anymore. So that's what I had. Let's go back. And Zach says, you were right. When the New Berlin show popped up, I would get killer deals because low attendance and most guys had no clue about pre-94 value. Got that Eckersley for a dime. Yep. That's what you gotta find those. And now that we've talked this out, maybe that's going to be another approach. Cause basically the shows that I attend are basically Janesville, Rockford, Madison, and then Kane County when it pops up once or twice a year. But, I know that there was a show in Baraboo recently. I think Wisconsin Dells has a small show. There's that show in Waukesha today, but I think that's probably going to be mostly, if not all, Pokemon. But I should probably hit up some of these smaller shows and dig. Zach says, some modern collector drinking a beer at 11 a.m. had a stack of, this. I thought this was just like in your mind. No, this sounds like reality. Some modern collector drinking a beer at 11 a.m. had a stack of vintage cards in his bargain box, walked away with a haul, probably less than a dime because he didn't want to count them. Awesome. Love it. Bargain Boxer says, what's funny? I've been to the card show at the VFW in Tuscola. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Or maybe it was in the back of my brain. He said it was terrible. I wouldn't expect it to be an amazing show, but you never know. James says, what's going on? How was the ride home? You hit the red. Holy shit, dude. It took me 20 minutes longer to get home than it did to drive. I counted. I actually had my trip set. Took me 20 minutes longer. Took me 2 hours to get home. Took an hour and 40 to get there. And that 20 minutes was strictly on Randall Road. Red light road. My God. I hit every fucking red light. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. So yeah, James got some good deals. James bought some football cards from me, bought some stuff from Steve. Steve had some great stuff. I know James got some good baseball. I wasn't even looking at baseball. And when, that's what I like. I can beat James to the bargain boxes at this show because they don't open the doors until right at 9. So I had about a solid hour to go through and dig. So I found some. Steve hooked me up. I got some. I got an Ellie De La Cruz rookie mojo for a couple bucks. I got a bunch of Jackson Holiday mojos for I think $1 a piece. That was about all the baseball. I didn't even look at baseball. He actually pulled those out for me. He's like, "Do you want this? Do you want this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take that Jackson Holiday mojo." And he's like, "Do you want all 6 of them?" I'm like, "For $1, sure." But I was pulling a lot of football, a couple basketball, but I was mainly looking at football. Just to try to bulk up on that. So when James came up and I'm like, I haven't even looked at the baseball boxes because I'm focusing on football and basketball. So I know he got some good deals out of there. What else did I pick up? Do I have that box? Oh shit. No, I left everything in my car. The box of new stuff is still in my car. So I can't even show it off unless I ran up into the garage. I don't want to do that. So I bought the 14 cards from one dealer who had a 10 for 7 deal. I bought, I think, about 14 or 15 cards from Jennings. I didn't spend too much time. There wasn't much in there. I bought some Jeters at 50 cents a pop. What else? I think there was some color, Bowman color in there. But he doesn't, at the smaller shows, he doesn't really bring out, if you want really good stuff, you've got to either go to the shop in Freeport or see him at the National. Even the Spectacular, I didn't spend any money. The last 2 Spectaculars, Jennings has not had good bargain box. Well, I take that back. I can't judge from this show because I wasn't there until Saturday afternoon. I'm sure the really good stuff was already taken, but when I last at the National, in the last Chicago National, he was back in a different spot, like back in the corner, like nobody was there, and I made out like a bandit at his 50-cent boxes. And again, at the shop, he's got some great stuff too. So I talk it out. I think my sales were actually probably better than I should have expected based on what I took in terms of only quarter boxes and not supplies and dollar boxes. Overall, I think I did 400, with $400 on quarter cards is a pretty good amount. I spent less than I bought, so net profit for the day. So that's what I had for today. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. I will be in Janesville next Saturday, but I'll just be in there as a buyer. I'll drop Ernie off at doggy daycare, scope things out. Janesville's been, as a buyer, Janesville's been up and down. Like, some shows are absolutely awesome. Some just absolutely suck as a buyer. So hopefully it's awesome or somewhere in between. I don't know if Steve will be there, but if not, I'll hit him up. But I got to figure out what Saturday hours are at doggy daycare because I may only have an hour or two. So that's next Saturday, this coming Saturday. Next Saturday night is the 14th. I should say this coming Saturday night is the Couch People Christmas party, 7 o'clock Central, Saturday night. Stream will be open, so you can call in, join if you want. You can just lurk. You can watch, whatever you want to do. Saturday night, 7 p.m. Central. I'm probably going to rip at least one box. I've got some 2022 Chrome update that has just been sitting that I'll bring that. So that's Saturday night. Madison Card Show, end of the month, Saturday, December 28th. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, sold out, 140 tables. So come out and see us in Madison right after Christmas. Again, like and subscribe. Bargain Boxer says, I was sorting cards yesterday, found a Jarrett Wright card that I probably paid $5 for that sold on eBay for $500. I didn't realize Jarrett Wright cards commanded such a premium. For me, that's the fun part of how I collect. James says, bring Ernie to Janesville. Support dog. There you go. I don't know. He's still only semi-potty trained, so I don't want him shitting on the floor. So won't do that. Alrighty. Like, subscribe. Hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I've got over 100 vintage 70s football cards ending tonight at auction. So get your bids in now. 99centcards.com. I think there's 110 vintage football cards up for auction right now, ending tonight. I've got auctions ending tomorrow night. And of course, Tuesday night, we'll stream live right here on YouTube for the Tuesday night auction. Go Bears. Who do we got today? The 49ers. I saw a little alert. DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift are active today. That's good. Let's go Bears. Double A says 27-24. Bears win on a walk-off field goal. Let's hope the Bears finally snap that losing streak with a new head coach at the helm. All right. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you in the morning, 7 a.m. Central. See you then.